So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar titled Exploring Learning Through Culture, Leveraging the Arts and to Empower Cities. I'm pleased to be with you today. My name is Samah Shalabi, and I will be moderating this webinar. And I'm part of the UNESCO Global Network on Learning Cities and also program specialist working in the UIL, or the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning. Today's event is the fifth in a series of 6 webinars we are hosting this year in the framework of the GNLC, and GNLC is a UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities. Throughout the year, we have been exploring a broad range of topics, focused on different topics, for example, on fostering learning opportunities for people of all ages at the local level or at the city level. Each session has been addressing different themes and highlight the needs of diverse learning groups. In today's topic is especially meaningful as it highlights how culture and art can inspire learning beyond formal education, strengthening inclusion and community participation in our cities. Art and culture shape how we see the world, but also importantly, how we see ourselves. They help us to question stereotypes, rethink, and even sometimes to unlearn what we once took for granted. They are powerful tools for creativity, dialogue, and transformation. They are also helping to strengthen social cohesion and support lifelong learning right in our communities and also in our societies. As UNESCO framework on arts and culture and education that has been adopted in 2024 by Ministers of Education and Ministers of Culture together, this framework reminds us that culture is not just an extra to learning. However, it is the heart of the learning. It is the heart of the lifelong learning, giving people and communities the power to imagine, to build more inclusive and also human rights-based futures. Having said this, today we're going to hear from our learning cities here with us and about their experiences, about their also inspiring practices on how interweaving art, culture, and learning together to reach to different learners, but also to accommodate their needs, learning needs. So please allow me to give you or to go through quickly through the session today and the agenda, and also to present our speakers who will give us insightful and also, as I said, their experiences in this topic. So today we will have in total, of course, the cities and also specialists from UNESCO. We will have, first of all, we will hear from Miss Kristen Mans. She's a project manager for the culture sector at UNESCO. And she will also sit for us the scene, and we listen from her more about the work of UNESCO in this area. And then we will have presentation from 3 cities, 3 learning cities, namely the city of Edmonton, Canada, Durban, South Africa, and also the city of Marrakesh in Morocco. Following these interventions, we will proceed to an open discussions with questions from the audience. And of course, if the time allows, we will take some of these questions to be answered from our speakers today. So as we have already an intense agenda and quite packed, so I would, of course, invite all the speakers to have the presentation. However, we would be very maybe limited in time. Therefore, I invite everyone to please to stick to the time allowed to each intervention. Before handing to the speakers of today, I would like to share some of the technical details. First of all, that today's event is recorded, and afterwards it will be available on UIL's website and also YouTube channel of UIL. Secondly, I would like to invite all the participants if you have any question to the speaker, please to post it in the Q&A. And please also, you can share any of your thoughts or comments in the chat function. And of course, last, I would like to announce that we have interpretation in several languages, including Arabic, French, Spanish, and Chinese. So I invite all of you, if you would like to use any of these languages, you can, of course, use the icon of the interpretation down here in the Zoom to switch between the different languages. Having said this, I would like also to give a special thanks to all our partners who made this interpretation available today. First, for the Chinese interpretation is provided by the Shanghai Municipal Institute for Lifelong Education, SMILE, in the People's Republic of China. And for the Arabic interpretation, it's provided by the Regional Center of Quality and Excellence in Education in Saudi Arabia, the city of Jubail. So again, thank you very much for all our partners for making this interpretation here today in our webinar and also in all the series of the webinar. Without further ado, I would like to give the space immediately to the first speaker today with us. And as said, our first speaker would be Miss Kirsten Mans. Again, she is a project manager for the culture sector at UNESCO HQ. Ms. Mans, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here, Osama, and a big thank you as well for our colleagues in the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning for the invitation to give you some few inspirational introductory remarks to this theme of exploring learning through culture, leveraging the arts to empower cities. Just a quick question, whether you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
If you don't mind, please to have it
yeah,
in a
I
presentation
tried to put it on, does it work now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay, excellent. So again, many thanks for having me here. It's a huge task to give an overview in a short time of what culture entails for UNESCO. As you know, UNESCO is one of the major themes which is in the mandate of this organization, and the organization has over time developed a large array of standard setting instruments, conventions and recommendations that guide member states in the protection, safeguarding and promotion of culture in all its forms. So with these remarks, I would like to focus in particular on those that might be most interesting for cities, for city governments, for city dwellers, and everyone involved in learning cities. Just to give you a few ideas to set the overall scene and jump back to the year 2016 when Habitat 3 happened, which was a global event of all member states of the UN, and UNESCO had produced a global report, the first global report on culture for sustainable urban development. So this report came up with a huge array of findings, of recommendations, among those as well, of course, highlighting the importance of intercultural competences for social cohesion, for education and intercultural awareness. I'm not going into detail because also Osama in her very good introduction already mentioned some of those aspects, of course, that are linked to the importance of culture for cities, for social cohesion in urban areas. But I may want to point out here also, since we see very often also cities in post-conflict situations, that the culture can serve as an important resource for resilience there as well. And we know that many city governments are also very active and involved in this work. Let me immediately jump to some city networks that you, of course, know. You just mentioned the Global Network of Learning Cities, but also other city networks that were highlighted right in that report that I just mentioned, which were brought together at that point. It was the moment of taking stock of everything that UNESCO has been doing on culture and urban sustainable development. We also have the Global Coalition for Inclusive and Sustainable Cities. This is a network that is coordinated by another sector of UNESCO. So culture related, I would wanted to highlight in particular two networks, in particular the World Heritage and Cities Program, which is not a network as such, but works as a program and connects the cities and their experiences in protecting and promoting World Heritage assets in their cities, but then also the UNESCO Creative Cities Network. I will come back to that a little bit later, just to highlight some few, not all, culture conventions and recommendations that I consider important to know and to have in mind when thinking of education and culture. The World Heritage Convention, the Intangible Cultural Heritage Convention, it has a longer name. This is the abbreviation, let's say, the short version of the name of this convention, and also the Convention on Diversity of Cultural Expression, which are all have their educational program as well and outreach program as well. So these standard setting instruments have been developed over time and are important for urban governance and the support of urban life in more general terms. The experience that has grown over time has also come to develop recommendations, in particular here the recommendation on the historic urban landscape, but also the recommendation on museums and their role in society. As we know, many museums, of course, are based in the urban context, are interacting very, very much with the society, with the urban context. So I said I would also highlight in more particular terms the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, which are cities that have recognized creativity as a strategic factor for their sustainable development in all different senses: economic, social, and environmental. Also, they have committed to sharing best practices and developing partnerships that promote creativity and cultural industry, and thereby strengthen participation in cultural life and integrating culture in urban development plans. They are organized, let's say, according to 7 creative fields. And this is also the occasion to say that there are several cities that have several designations. So many learning cities, actually, and here the photo I've taken from Querétaro, which is a learning city, which is a creative city, which is a World Heritage City. So this is to point out that there are some examples which would be particularly interesting to look at in terms of the management of these designations and, of course, what they entail for city governance and the different departments, the culture departments on one hand, and the educational departments in the cities, and how they work together, how they function together to support this large array of culture and education for their citizens in specific terms on the ground. So You already also mentioned the latest document that was adopted last year, indeed, by the member states, which is the UNESCO Framework on Culture and Arts Education, which is the result of a very long-standing work of cultural and educational institutions together to come up with this framework that now also has an implementation guidance with it. But here, just to highlight one aspect where learning cities are particularly mentioned, because it highlights the importance of diverse learning experiences and learning environments as well, and the broadening of that concept of learning environments by establishing more sustained cooperation with formal, non-formal, and informal learning spaces, such as schools and museums that I've highlighted in the context of the recommendation, libraries, creative hubs, and among other cities and municipalities, such as the learning cities that are part of your network. Just to come to the point on the implementation guidance, which I think is a very useful tool for everyone on the ground to look into examples. It has, some implementation modalities, but then is structured according guiding questions, but then also coming up with illustrative practices that you can see. There are some practices that I may want to highlight in particular because I'm the project manager of a project that looks at culture related technical and vocational training, where I could highlight our work with the city of Salta in Argentina, a learning city, but where we are working with their what they call entrepreneurship school to propose workshops for artisans and citizens to look into ancestral crafts and develop their skills, and with the support of microcredits from the municipality can then start their own small businesses. So that's one of the very interesting examples, which was also presented last year at the international conference on learning cities in Jubail. Another one might be interesting as well because it concerns a World Heritage City in Tanzania, Stone Town, Zanzibar, and Tanzania, where one old cinema is being restored with the help of, as part of the World Heritage Program, but then also will be a cultural hub for all the cultural and creative stakeholders of the city. So these are some of the very concrete examples that I wanted to make here. And with that, I think I give the floor to the cities to learn on the very concrete examples on the ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kristen Mans, for this presentation. It's indeed an excellent foundation for today's discussion. And thank you very much for highlighting this connection between our UNESCO networks, whether the GNLC and also the creative cities. And this indeed emphasized that there is a strong link between the culture and lifelong learning when it comes, and especially as you rightly said, the members, some of the members that we have in our GNLC networks are also members of the creative cities, trying to bring all the elements together to, of course, respond to the learning needs of different learners. And of course, thank you for sharing all of these important conventions and recommendations from UNESCO. And I would like maybe to highlight that all of these useful conventions and even the tool for the implementation guidelines for the framework are available online for any of the interested participants. They can, of course, visit our website and UNESCO, and they can find all of this. So thank you very much once more. And indeed, it's very important point what you highlight about the role of the culture, but also learning when it comes to the post-conflict situation. And this is indeed also part of our work, and we have touched it a lot on the ground. So again, many thanks for this excellent presentation. And now we're gonna move to the second speaker with us today, and to hear about the practice in some of the cities, and building on already the presentation from Miss Mans, that she has already shared with us some practical insights and practices. So please allow me today or now to move to the second speaker, which would be Miss Renee Williams. She is the Executive Director of the Edmonton Art Council from the Learning City of Edmonton, Canada. Unfortunately, she's not with us live today. However, she kindly recorded for us a video, which my colleagues will play this video right now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Renee Williams, and I'm the Executive Director of the Edmonton Arts Council. It's a privilege to be here today to discuss how Edmonton, as a UNESCO Learning City, leverages the power of arts and culture to foster lifelong learning and empower our diverse communities. It's an honor to be amongst a few of our global peers and representatives from cities like Durban, South Africa, and Marrakesh, Morocco. For those who are unfamiliar with us in the Northern Hemisphere, Edmonton proudly became the first North American city to join the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities in 2022. This international recognition upholds our city's commitment to lifelong learning for all. The Edmonton Arts Council, or EAC, is a nonprofit and charitable organization dedicated to supporting, promoting, and inspiring the arts in our city. EAC's vision is a city where arts and culture are integrated, and where artists and arts organizations are valued and supported. We are guided by Connections and Exchanges, the City of Edmonton's award-winning 10-year Arts and Heritage Plan, which aims to infuse culture, arts, and heritage into every aspect of our civic fabric, support cultural makers and interpreters, and grow Edmonton's arts and heritage community. One excellent example of how we integrate arts and culture for lifelong learning is through our public art walking tours. These tours offer residents and visitors a casual opportunity to engage with Edmonton's diverse public art collection. We are proud to host over 300 public artworks all over the city. Currently, we are offering walking tours with a focus on Indigenous art. Edmonton resides in Treaty 6 territory, which is the homeland of a variety of Indigenous peoples. For Canada, our history with Indigenous peoples is rich, but also complicated. It is through art that we can explore the gifts Indigenous communities and their ancestors offer, while also recognizing the truth of our land's history. Our timing could not be more fitting, as this week the EAC will be receiving a National Public Art Award at Creative Cities for two of our child-friendly public artworks, Mischief of Could-Be's and Yu-Gi-Oh! A Mischief of Could-Be's and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are a pair of whimsical child-friendly public art pieces by local artists Aaron Pankratz and Christian Perret-Jabot. Since the completion of this artwork, child-friendly public artworks have become a priority for the City of Edmonton, and making multi-generational friendly spaces is now part of the selection criteria for new public artworks. On busy days in the heart of downtown Edmonton, multiple children can be seen climbing, dangling, swinging, and engaging with the artwork. Research has shown that this imaginative participation encourages the child to develop new skills, self-confidence, and self-esteem, all important factors that support the development of a successful leader of tomorrow. Another impactful initiative is our Artist in Residence program. These programs embedded artists within various community settings, allowing them to collaborate with residents and explore creative processes related to visual arts, music, dance, or theater. These activities foster new ways of thinking, personal growth, and self-expression, enhancing cognitive abilities and inspiring individuals to engage in innovative, outside-the-box thinking. I cannot emphasize enough, arts and culture are powerful vehicles for promoting lifelong learning in our city. Our public art tours and installations, along with our Artists in Residence program, are just a few of many ways Edmontonians demonstrate how creative processes can transform urban environments, enhance educational inclusion, engagement, and empowerment across diverse communities. I encourage cities all over the world, all levels of government, the various organizations within those cities, to continue investing in the arts. By doing so, we are investing in a more vibrant, inclusive, and innovative learning city for its residents and visitors.
Thank you very much, Miss Renee Williams, for this inspiring video and for this strong message indeed to continue investing in art. This is very, of course, powerful message. Again, many thanks for sharing the intervention taking place in the learning city of Edmonton, from public art tours and installations, including works by Indigenous artists, to the Artists in Residence program. We would like also to offer congratulations to the learning city of Edmonton Art Council on receiving a National Public Art Award this week for 2 of their child-friendly art installations. This is truly, as said, an inspiring example of how a city can leverage culture, art, and learning to engage communities to expand on lifelong learning opportunities and, of course, skills development, as we heard. Just from here, I would like to remind all the participants with us today, if you have, please, any questions to any of our speakers, please don't hesitate to put your question in the Q&A function. And also you can use the chat in case if you have any comments or any remarks that you would like to share with us. And please also don't forget that we have interpretation in different languages. Now let's continue our global tour, and we can now travel from Canada to South Africa to hear also another example from one of the learning cities, Durban Learning City, which is also a member of the GNLC, the global UNESCO Global Network on Learning Cities. And please now allow me to give the floor to hear from Mr. Colin Play. He's a program manager at the Office of City Manager. So, Mr. Colin, the floor is yours, and you have 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Program Director. Good afternoon to all of you. It's a warm, sunny day here in South Africa, in Durban. So just to give you a context for those of you that are not familiar with where Durban is, we are on the African continent, on the southern side, and on the eastern side of the continent, more closer to the tip of Africa. So Durban is a multicultural city with a diverse population of close to 4 million people of all races. Yeah, so it's also a UNESCO learning city designated in 2022. We also hold the status of being a creative city and a city of literature. Yeah. Just 3 weeks ago, we celebrated Heritage Day, and it's a public holiday on the South African calendar. Yeah, so I'm quite pleased to be sharing within the 5 minutes some snapshots around how Durban is committed to embedding learning through the use of arts, culture, and heritage. Just to indicate to you that I have a few talking points, I'm going to go through it very swiftly through the 5 minutes that I have, Program Director. So in terms of its strategic framework, we use institutions to drive learning initiatives, be they libraries, cultural centers, museums, and other decentralized learning spaces that brings together certainly education closer to communities and fostering opportunities to learn more about Durban's diverse heritage culture through art. So in terms of its cultural infrastructure, there's Durban's rich network of cultural venues, art centers, like I mentioned, 26 art and cultural sites dedicated towards promoting arts and culture, 80 or 95 libraries, public libraries, and one of the largest art gallery centers in South Africa is located in the Durban City Hall. So we use opportunities like workshops, performances, exhibitions to promote arts culture and using learning as a vehicle to promote the diversity within the South African or Durban space. So yeah, we look at promoting and nurturing young talent, bringing in diverse age groups, and providing access to creative education. Just to indicate that some of our flagship projects, programs that feature quite prominently on the Durban calendar is the Talent Search and the Durban Drum Day. We also have what we've now recognized as the Articulate Africa Book Fair, Book and Art Fair, and a variety of other programs that feature throughout the year. And this is all geared towards promoting art and addressing our historical past and celebrating our culture as a diverse nation. So certainly, I think we use opportunities like music, storytelling, performances to promote learning, and like I mentioned, bring in the youth, engage youth, and provide these platforms for expression and for growth. Certainly, I think Durban's key programs and dedicated units looks at literature festivals, translation workshops, and we use this to promote dialogue and literacy across the communities that we work closely with. So I think certainly it's a good opportunity for international visitors to embrace Durban's heritage through any of these events. And we looked at also working closely with our university partners, whom we see as a academic resource, to focus on international festivals like the Time of the Writer, Poetry Africa as examples of promoting global engagement. So just in terms of impact and vision, so part of the objective of penetrating into the arts, culture, heritage space is to look at how does arts foster unity and social cohesion? How do we embrace the historical past through a better understanding using these opportunities? How do we highlight youth empowerment through creative career pathways? Yeah, and the Durban 2030 vision provides a strong opportunity for us to position Durban as a livable, caring city where learning is accessible to all. So just in closing, Program Director, just want to say that the city of Durban, or the Learning City of Durban, uses in a very strategic approach to embrace culture and arts to drive lifelong learning. And we reinforce the idea that learning happens everywhere, in theaters, in parks, in community halls, and in public spaces. So this is, a very, very high level insight. I'm going to share with you a vignette that gives you some insight about Durban's diversity. I'm hoping that it can be accessed. But if it's not, then I'm going to maybe leave the link with Paulo so that he could share this with the rest of the audience today. Thank you, Program Director, and thank you for the opportunity to present today.
We thank you very much, Mr. Clay, for this fascinating presentation from sunny Durban. It's very, inspiring to hear from your experience. and to hear also what you have highlighted about that this interweaving between culture, art, and learning that brings more accessibility to the learning opportunities, but also importantly, more awareness on what is happening in the city as a learning city, giving space to other learners to engage in different learning programs. And also thank you for highlighting that you are targeting different groups, among them, of course, focusing on the youth empowerment through skills development, but also creativity and learning, which is very important for the sustainability and for our future in general. And of course, this plays a role when it comes to the intergenerational learning, because the youth, they are kind of mediator between different generations in different societies and cities. So once more, thank you very much on this presentation. And we will continue together to the third speaker. But before I go to hand over to our third speaker today, the fourth speaker from Marrakesh, I would like to remind all the participants that we have the interpretation in different languages. And also, if you have any questions and if you have any remarks, you can, of course, share it with us in the Q&A. The upcoming presentation will be in French. So if you would like to listen to any different languages, for example, like English, Arabic, Chinese, you are invited to please find the icon on the interpretation and you choose the language that you wish to hear the intervention with. Having said that, we will continue again our global tour, and now we will travel from South Africa to Morocco, particularly to the city of the city of Marrakesh. And I would like to invite Ms. Khadija Bouhreishi. She is the Deputy Mayor of Marrakesh, to share with us today her insights and also to learn more about the experience of the city on how art and culture can be used to foster learning. So the floor is yours. Madame Khadija.
Bonjour, vous m'écoutez?
Non.
Bonjour, vous m'écoutez?
Oui.
Oui, et c'est bon maintenant?
Oui, c'est bon. Merci.
Vous m'écoutez maintenant?
Oui.
Oui, c'est bon. Donc, bonjour à tous et à toutes. Je suis Madame Khadija Bouhreishi, adjointe au maire de la commune de Marrakech, et je vais vous parler de l'apprentissage par la culture et de la façon dont les arts peuvent éduquer, unir et développer nos villes. Ce thème, en fait, s'inscrit dans le programme de Marrakech Ville Apprenante. Voilà, donc programme Marrakech Ville Apprenante de l'UNESCO, qui est une initiative qui fait une adhésion qui fait de la culture plutôt un moteur d'apprentissage tout au long de la vie. Alors, au niveau de la présentation, vous arrivez à voir le plan? Alors, je n'arrive pas à faire passer la présentation. Voilà, le plan s'articule autour de 4 points. Donc, premier point, culture et apprentissage selon de la vie. Deuxième point, Marrakech, une ville de culture vivante. Troisième, initiative culturelle et éducative. Et dernier point, projet récent et conclusion. Alors, pour ce qui est du premier point, donc si vous pouvez passer pour voilà. Culture et apprentissage selon de la vie. Donc, l'UNESCO définit l'apprentissage selon de la vie, on le sait, comme un processus continu, formel ou informel. Et à Marrakech, cela se traduit par la culture vécue au quotidien. Donc, chaque médina, chaque artisan, chaque spectacle devient alors un espace éducatif. Donc, l'apprentissage ne se fait donc pas seulement à l'école, mais il se fait aussi dans la rue, les musées, les festivals, et les ateliers. Donc, les arts permettent d'ouvrir l'esprit, de développer la tolérance, mais aussi de renforcer la citoyenneté, comme la culture aussi nous apprend à vivre ensemble et à transmettre nos valeurs. Deuxième point, voilà, deuxième point, si vous pouvez passer, voilà. Les arts comme vecteurs d'apprentissage à Marrakech. Marrakech, une culture vivante et apprenante. En fait, Marrakech est un véritable exemple de la ville vivante et aussi apprenante, où la culture joue un rôle essentiel dans la transmission des savoirs et des valeurs. Alors, tout d'abord, Marrakech est classé au patrimoine mondial de l'UNESCO depuis 1985, ce qui reconnaît non seulement son architecture et son histoire, mais aussi sa richesse culturelle et vivante. Nous avons la célèbre place Jemaa el-Fna, connue à Marrakech, et qui est inscrite en 2008 au patrimoine culturel immatériel de l'humanité. Voilà, donc cette place est un lieu emblématique de l'éducation populaire. Chaque jour, on y apprend à travers la parole, la musique, le théâtre et la poésie. C'est un espace de partage, d'expression et de créativité où les traditions se transmettent aussi naturellement. Nous avons l'artisanat. Alors, l'artisanat traditionnel est un autre pilier de cet apprentissage culturel. Dans les ateliers de la Médina, par exemple, les maîtres transmettent aux jeunes leur savoir-faire, le cuir, le métal, le zélige ou le tissage aussi des tapis. Et donc, cette transmission intergénérationnelle fait de l'artisanat une véritable école de vie où l'on apprend la patience, la précision, mais aussi le respect du métier. Donc, ainsi à Marrakech, les arts et la culture ne sont pas seulement un héritage, mais un moyen d'apprendre et de créer et de vivre aussi ensemble. Troisième point, initiative culturelle et éducative à Marrakech. Alors, Marrakech met la culture au cœur de son développement éducatif à travers plusieurs initiatives fortes. Donc, d'abord, Marrakech, c'est une ville apprenante de l'UNESCO. Il intègre la culture dans les politiques locales d'éducation. Et il y a comme exemple aussi le Festival national des arts populaires, le FNAP, qui valorise le patrimoine immatériel marocain, donc tout ce qui est chant, danse, habits, et crée un pont entre tradition et modernité tout en renforçant la fierté culturelle. Nous avons le festival de la Daqa Marrakechia. Alors, il célèbre un art musical et spirituel typique de Marrakech et favorise la transmission entre générations. C'est une école aussi de discipline, de cohésion et d'identité collective. En fait, ces initiatives montrent que la culture à Marrakech, elle éduque, elle relie et inspire. Elle forme aussi les citoyens créatifs et fiers de leur héritage. Alors, comme quatrième point, quelques projets aussi développés dernièrement. Ces dernières parties présentent trois projets récents qui illustrent comment Marrakech met la culture au service de l'apprentissage et du développement local. Alors, tout d'abord, nous avons l'exemple du village de l'eau, organisé en 2024 par la commune de Marrakech. C'est une initiative originale qui allie art et éducation environnementale. Et donc, pendant 5 jours, des ateliers artistiques, des expositions, mais aussi des activités pédagogiques, puisqu'il y a participation aussi massive des étudiants. Donc, ces ateliers plutôt ont sensibilisé les citoyens, surtout les jeunes, à la gestion durable de l'eau. Ce projet a réuni des étudiants, des associations et des artisans, créant ainsi un espace d'apprentissage collectif et participatif. On sait que la problématique de l'eau, elle est vraiment, il s'impose vraiment à tous les pays. Donc, ce projet réunit, on a dit, des étudiants, des associations, mais aussi des artisans. Alors, ensuite, on a le projet d'Arbelège. Alors, ce projet, c'est un exemple fort d'autonomisation par la culture. Il concerne des femmes analphabètes qui s'initient au théâtre. Et donc, ce sont des femmes qui font du théâtre. À travers la scène, elles apprennent à s'exprimer, à se valoriser et à renforcer leur capacité. C'est un projet qui montre comment aussi l'art peut être un outil d'émancipation et de confiance en soi. Enfin, nous avons l'exemple des maisons de jeunes qui sont réhabilitées et qui sont devenues aussi de véritables espaces d'expression et de formation artistique. On y pratique le théâtre, la danse, le cinéma, les arts visuels, etc. Donc, plusieurs activités. Alors, ces activités sont encadrées aussi par des artistes locaux et visent à développer la créativité, mais aussi l'esprit d'équipe et la confiance. C'est aussi une façon d'encourager l'inclusion sociale des jeunes à travers la culture. Voilà, alors comme conclusion, je pourrais dire que l'apprentissage par la culture rend la ville plus autonome, plus créative et plus humaine. Et donc, c'est une vision d'avenir où chaque habitant devient en fait acteur de son propre développement. Alors, Marrakech illustre dans ce sens cette dynamique, une ville qui apprend, qui partage et rayonne à travers la culture, à travers cet ensemble d'activités qui sont organisées. Voilà. Merci de votre attention.
Ms. Khadija, thank you very much for this excellent intervention. It's really, again, another inspiring example for today. And again, thank you very much for highlighting very important points. For example, that learning is not anymore taking place only in the classes or in the literacy classes and so on, but also it can be through different modalities. For example, the theater performance, to use it especially for literacy for women. And I think we have heard something similar also in the city of Durban. Also, thank you for emphasizing, and again, this is the learning can happen in, for example, handcraft workshops, to keep not only the heritage, but also to keep this intergenerational learning of understanding the culture of the city of Marrakesh, but also understanding the culture through learning the handcrafts in Morocco in general. And of course, this is keeping this beautiful handcraft between different generations, of course, among the young people. And lastly, that art and culture, they have power also for sustainability. And I think here also the connection made very clearly on one of the projects, when you give us the example on the project on water and how art and culture used for awareness for this very important topic. And I think this is where I would like to say the connection of all the SDGs, all the sustainable development goals work together. So when we are speaking about SDG 4, we are speaking about learning, however, of course, to give an equal opportunity learning for everyone. But this today, the interventions from all the speakers highlight that learning cannot stand alone. It needs also other factors, and it needs other means. And here culture and arts, as we heard today, can be a very powerful tools in order to transform the thinking around accessibility, but also the provision of learning opportunities through creative ways. And of course, as said, art is a reflection of us, reflection of how we are seeing ourselves, but also how we see the world. And from today's intervention, we have heard that many of the art has come from the local. And then when the things are coming from the local, so it's really reflecting the needs. It's inspiring, or it's let's say it's a normal coming from the people needs in different communities and also different societies. So once more, thank you very much for all the speakers, but of course we still have time. I thank each one of you for keeping really the 5 minutes. Thank you very much for this. And this will allow us to have actually some questions for today. We have some questions today for the speakers. So I would like maybe to start with one question, and I would invite each of the speakers to have like 2 minutes or even 1 minute just to reflect quickly on the question. I will start with the first question is, so the question is, given the financial constraint, There was a question made by Sergio saying that what are the most effective strategies for cities to develop as a learning city environments that promote lifelong learning for all without relying on central government funding for culture? So I would like to maybe invite the speakers according to the order that we started with. So Mr. Miss Kirsten Mans, I don't know if you'd like to.
Well, I think thank you for the question. It's of course very, very central to everything, as finance is always an issue, and in particular for culture, even more so, I would say. I think the city representatives here will have much more concrete examples of how funding can be sought without depending on national budgets and support. I think it is, of course, very often seen to have public-private partnerships with, which could be with local private companies that support and then also support the activities. It could be other types of private-public partnerships. So that is one of the options that I would want to highlight here, but I would rather give the floor then maybe to Madame Khadija and Colin to continue on very concrete examples how they go about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if I follow the order, please, I will give it then to Mr. Colin Pelly. If you would like for 1 minute, please, to reflect.
Most certainly. Yeah, I think from the city of Durban, the funds are located within the city's budget itself. So we draw a revenue largely from the city's tax base, and with equitable funding from national government and even from provincial government. But given, I think there's always a constraint around funding, the opportunities to partner with both corporate, civil society, NGOs, international donors is part of the mix in terms of funding the various projects. I did mention that South Africa is home to a UNESCO heritage site, the Ukuhlamba or Durban or Drakensberg Mountains. So certainly this is a national initiative, and it is largely funded by central government. But for most of Durban's programs, projects, activities, this comes directly from local government funding itself, from the city of Durban.
Thank you very much for this intervention. And now I will give the floor to Ms. Khadija, please.
Oui. Alors, si j'ai bien compris la question, c'est que quelles sont les stratégies les plus efficaces afin de développer un environnement d'apprentissage propice? C'est bien ça. Et donc, les expériences montrent que pour que les actions aient plus d'impact, il faut qu'elles impliquent les citoyens. D'accord? Donc, il faut impliquer les citoyens à travers un ensemble d'actions ciblées, par exemple, soit des ateliers, des festivals, mais aussi des structures dédiées, telles que les maisons de jeunes. Par exemple, les maisons de jeunes au Maroc, par exemple, regroupent un ensemble d'espaces où on peut faire du théâtre, on peut apprendre une matière nouvelle, de l'informatique par exemple, où on peut faire de la danse, les arts, etc., etc. Mais on le sait, comme l'a dit Madame Kerstin avant moi, cela nécessite des fonds et donc un réel partenariat entre public et privé. Mais je crois que la clé de réussite, c'est le fait d'impliquer les citoyens dans les stratégies, parce qu'ils connaissent mieux leurs besoins par rapport à l'acteur public. Voilà, merci.
Thank you very much. Maybe thank you all of you for the answers. Maybe we still have time, so I will go quickly for a second round of question. However, I would like to invite you for a very short answer, like half a minute. Whether any of the cities have kind of guidelines for implementing culture and art activities within the city, learning city. So just to be more precise, again, the question, are there any guidelines from city networks or even the learning cities for implementing arts and culture program at the local level? I think, Kirsten, you have mentioned already about the guidelines, and so maybe if you would like to, in a half a minute, to highlight again.
Well, yeah, maybe just to say that from the different networks, in particular, I would highlight the UNESCO Creative Cities Network as well, plus the recent implementation guidance that I mentioned on the framework on culture and arts education. I think those can give guidance. Indeed, that's of course it will have to be adapted always to the local context, to the local needs. So I would say that it's important to have this guidance at hand, but then also take some very concrete examples from cities, and that's the very benefit of these networks and the exchange that can happen among the different cities to learn from each other and see how the concrete culture-related development framework that a city may have developed can apply and can be transferred to another case, another city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And maybe just for half a minute, if any of the city representatives, the speakers today, would like to share with us if you have any strategic framework that you are using it in order to integrate culture, art, and learning together.
I think from the city of Durban, we rely very strongly on the city's integrated development plan. Now, this is a legislative mandate that subscribes to a national imperative. So it's made up of 8 key points, and key in the Durban's 8-point plan is the focus around arts, culture, and heritage, for which programs compete for budget. And based on a prioritization process, there's a resolution or there's an approval for where the city should be focusing its budget to maximize on the impact it will receive. So certainly, I think Durban's integrated development plan is a rolling 5-year plan, and it's reviewed annually. So it's a good framework that I'm happy to share with others that are keen to look at how Durban is managing the promotion of arts, culture, and heritage, and driving lifelong learning through this field of interest.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it will be very helpful if you can please share it with us, even here in the chat. And the floor to you, Ms. Khadija.
Oui, vous m'entendez? Oui. Oui. Donc, je dirais que l'adhésion de la ville au réseau de l'UNESCO a permis à la commune de jouer un rôle de fédérateur de tous les efforts qui se font en matière de culture et d'art au niveau de la ville. Cela nous a permis d'élaborer un plan d'action sur 3 ans de toutes les activités artistiques et culturelles et de pouvoir les suivre, les évaluer et les développer aussi, et également innover dans ce sens. Voilà, merci.
Thank you very much indeed. And now we are approaching to the end. Yes, please, Mr. Pelly. Mr. Colin Pelly, I see the hand is up. Would you like to add something? Okay.
My apology, it was an error.
No problem at all. So now we are approaching to the end of this webinar, but before I give the closing remarks to my colleague, Mr. Raul Valdes, I would like first of all to thank all the presenters today really for this fantastic presentation and this great tour full of colors, full of positive energy, full of also inspiring stories about learning that can also how art and culture can really change our perspective even in the learning provision and access to learning. So thank you for all of you again. And again, please, this is the purpose of this webinar is to have this peer learning between all of the members in our UNESCO Global Network for Learning Cities. So if any of the cities have more questions, of course, they can come back to us and we can put you in contact with the cities who presented today. Another also thank you for all the colleagues from the GNLC team for their hard work on preparing this excellent webinar today. So from here, I would like also maybe on another note to invite all of you to join us for a launch of Greening Communities guidelines. This is a new guidelines that has been developed by UIL together with other partners. The guidelines titled Lifelong Learning for Climate and Sustainability Action. It's actually a practical guide which has been co-developed by experts around the world to support local governments and others in advancing lifelong learning for climate action at a local level. The launch of this guidelines or the guidance would be on a webinar on the Friday, 14th of November at 1 o'clock Central European Time. And we would be happy to have all of you there. And the link will be now actually submitted or posted in the chat. So to this end, I would like to now to invite my colleague, Mr. Raul Valdes. He's a senior program coordinator. And also he is a global, the UNESCO GNLC coordinator. So he will be closing and also delivering the closing remarks. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be with you today. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sama, for the excellent moderation as always. Thank you, thank you. I think it brought really a lot of value, and thank you very much to our presenters today for the great contribution to the webinar. I found the intervention and experiences you share here very, very enriching. Thank you, Kerstin, for showing this UNESCO perspective, which is very important to articulate. But also thank you, Ms. Renee, Colin, being always there, Madame Khadija, that is always surprising me with good examples. So you can bring so many diversity and richness to what we're trying to implement. I hope that really other cities can take away inspiration from all of our presenters to continue our great work in the increasing important area as a learning city. Many thanks for you all for joining us today. I would now like to examine practical ways cultural and how the arts can catalyze creativity and participation. I think that together with the city networks, conventions, recommendations that are in place to enhance inclusive opportunities for lifelong learning in our learning cities. Thank you to all presenters and attendees for contributing through 4 examples and dialogue that will inform practices across the GNLC. I would like, once again, Sama did it already, but to thank all UL colleagues involved in the preparation and facilitation of this webinar that has been now running for several years, I would say, and it's really getting more and more relevant. And to let you know that our next and final webinar, well, aside from the one that Sama mentioned on ESD in November, the regular webinars that it's every 2 months, the last one will take place on the Wednesday, 17th of December at the same time as today. And this event is titled Breaking Down Barriers, Lifelong Learning for Diverse Groups of Refugees and Migrants in Cities. Registration is open. For this, we would like to hear from you which cities would like to present. And we wish you a very nice day, afternoon ahead. Thank you very much. It was really nice having you.